I just want to welcome you guys back. And I also want to do a special gracious welcome to our guest speaker, Shannon Kelly. And she is incredible. And Michaela, this would be a great person to ask some questions to in the chat. Everybody will really, really value. That's what's making these dose of positivity so much more positive, is having everybody asking questions, and not only asking questions, but also giving their input and what they're doing to be positive during these evolutionary times. It is a really incredible time in history that we all have this great opportunity to be part of. Whenever there's stress and strife is when all the magic happens at the other end. And when we gather together like this collectively and we put ourselves forward to say, yes, I'm here to be part of the change I wish to be and see in the world. That's Gandhi, yay. And I want to just thank everybody so much for showing up. And I'm going to give everybody a proper introduction to Shannon. But before we do that, I wanted to share something and show this to y'all while there's more people coming in. And I don't want anybody to miss anything that Shannon has to say. So first of all, here's some of my beautiful new art prints, my photography. But with that, you know, for me, when I think of the most important thing for myself personally, and this is something I would like to ask you all to think about and put in the chat right now too, after I ask you, it's like, what makes you feel the best each and every day? What is the thing that when you're doing it, that you feel?
Did we lose her?
And taking the time to breathe, taking the time. Oh, sorry about that. I hope you guys got to see that a little. Did you? Yeah,
we did.
All right. For me, it's taking the time to count my blessings rather than to count my calories, my steps, and my money. So if you all would just join me in taking some gentle breaths and just getting really present, and then I'm going to introduce Shannon, and I invite you to put in the chat anything that brings you the greatest joy, because your joy level or what you're doing might spark someone else to think about, wow, maybe, yeah, journal writing or whatever it is. So just gently close your eyes just for a minute and bring in 2022 and let go of anything from 2021 or the past. And focus on bringing forward in your breath what brings you joy. Thank you so much. Thank you for folks who put things in the chat. And I'm going to be really honest with you. What brings me joy is bringing you joy and other people joy. And that's why I do what I do, other than being in nature and doing my photography and writing. But this, like showing up and being present for other people and knowing that I'm able to help other people find their joy. And Shannon Kelly is one of those very unique, special people. Wait till you hear her laugh, you automatically get joy. She is just one of those sparks in life that has that amazing amounts of positivity and energy. And she's sitting in Canada right now where it's 45 below zero with the wind chill factor.
And I'm still smiling.
And she's still smiling. So, and you saw where I am, and it's absolutely beautiful. But Shannon is a highly intuitive, advanced Akashic record. She studied under with Edgar Casey, and she's got a huge history with that. And she's also a Reiki practitioner. She is the creator of a beautiful magazine, and she's also does podcasts for writers, which I have been honored to be on, which is incredible. She's a personal transformation coach, a thought leader, a writer, and a speaker. You can see she is my soul sister. And through her work, Shannon has helped thousands of people clear their limiting belief systems and conditionings to learn to trust in their inner guidance. Yes, that's what we're talking about today. Undoing and doing what our inner selves want, right? So that they can create their reality with a stronger spiritual foundation and form a place of confidence and power and the right kinds of power, the power of love, the power of consciousness, the power of caring, and the power of believing in ourselves. Her genius lies in helping people unbecome the people they thought they had to be so that they can rebuild a solid foundation that supports who they truly are. So without further ado, I want to introduce this woman who helps fierce leaders get ready to step into their flow and tap into their magic manifestation. So, Shannon?
I'm like blushing over here.
Yeah, well, yes, it's the cold, it's the frostbite.
Must be. Well, what an introduction. Thank you, Mama Donna, for having me tonight.
I'm so glad.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here, even when it's minus 45 outside. You guys, being here with you guys brings me joy. So
great.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about the art of letting go.
Yes.
And I love this topic because there is an art to it, and there's something so magical about letting go of all the stuff that we carry within us, whether we carry it in our homes, whether we carry it in our energy bodies, whether we carry it in our minds, in our subconscious minds. Starting off the new year, letting go of stuff is a really, really beautiful way to start 2022, especially, when the last couple of years have been kind of crappy for us all. And I'm just going to say that I think that introduction was really, really beautiful. But really what I do is I teach people how to become their most authentic selves, and we release that fear of judgment and the fear of ridicule, and releasing our limiting beliefs so we truly can become whatever it is that we choose to be. Because in this life, we only get one opportunity, and why not live your best life ever? So what else do I want to talk about? The art of letting go. So what are the things, if you can think for yourself for just, for 1 minute, just give it some thought. Where are the areas of your life where you feel like you could let go? And I'm talking about all of the areas of your life. So purging is a beautiful thing, whether it's your email box, your sock drawer, your closet. For us women, sometimes we have too many purses and shoes and scarves. Where are the areas that you feel like you could let go of a few things? Because everything that we have has energy. And so when we have all of these things, it carries energy with it. So when we hold on to stuff too long, sometimes the energy gets stagnant. And so this can happen with all of the things in our homes. And there is a real, there's a real big movement these days about minimalism. And I'm not saying that you have to like strip down to the bare necessities. Please do keep your most prized possessions and your keepsakes. But in our society, we have this this need to be attached to our things. It's like our things decide whether we're successful or not. In whatever ways that you decide you're going to be successful, it's like this rampant disease in our society where you have to have as many things as you can to show that you're successful. And instead of understanding the true value that comes from just being who you are within yourself and giving the gifts of love and truth and sharing peace and joy, we tend to attach ourselves to our things, thinking that our things are going to make us happy.
Yeah, Shannon, I just wanted to say, add one thing to that is
Yes.
one of the resolutions that I work with and talk with, helping my clients with, is redefining success and wealth.
Yes, it's
what is
so
that?
important.
And prioritizing our health, our family, and our business in that order. And just like you said, we're conditioned to what we having more is better, and everything that you and I teach and I write about is how do we learn to live more like the future matters and let go of these limiting beliefs. So I just wanted for conversation, just bringing that into the mix of how do we prioritize our health, our family, and our business, and not feeling and how that can truly, just thinking about that in that order, can redefine that is holding us back, because we think we have to be something more, or what someone else thinks we should be.
Well, and that's my word for this year. Do you guys pick a word for the year? Like, do you guys have a word?
Yeah,
My
put it
word,
in the chat.
my word this year, yeah, share with me what your word is. My word this year is simple. I'm like just trying to streamline everything in my life so that I have more time for my grandkids, more time for my partner, more time for riding my Harley, more time for the things that really truly bring me joy. So so that's what I'm bringing to the table this year for myself and for my family and for my clients, is that I really just think it's time for everybody to simplify how we live. And this is something that Donna teaches all the time. Annette says, letting go of past disappointments and recovering from COVID. Past disappointments. Oh, my word is peace. Nice. I like peace.
Yeah.
Letting go of disappointment. So when we start talking about all of the things that we're letting go, maybe well, not maybe, there is some part of us that goes through a grieving process. And so of course you guys all know that, in the grieving process, there's 5 stages, right? There's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, there's acceptance. And as we start to let go of all of these things, there's resistance for us as we move through all of those different pieces, whether we understand it consciously or whether it's just happening subconsciously. So when I talk about emptying out your sock drawer, it's just a really good way to start, right? And you start clearing space in your homes, in your office, in your email box, you yourself start to feel lighter because the energy changes. So then that gives us more time and more space to let go of our limiting beliefs. Right? We can work on ourselves at a deeper level when we start creating more space in our homes, in our offices, and just in our general areas, right? It's just a really good place to start, I guess, is we all have a lot of limiting beliefs, and whether we like to admit that or not. Limiting beliefs, not enoughs, I can't, people pleasing, scared of rejections, maybe there's guilt, maybe there's shame, maybe there is grief from traumas that we've experienced, and we all experience trauma differently. What might have been very traumatic for you at one time may not be traumatic for somebody else, because we all look at life through our own perceived lens, and we all experience these things differently. Cam says focus. Oh, that's a good word. Restoration. Oh, I like that. Restoration in what way? Let's talk some more about that.
One of the things that I would like to chime in about focus and restoration and peace and all of these beautiful words you guys are bringing forward is letting go of socks and scarves and bags is one thing, but letting go of energy vampires and people in our lives that are really sucking us dry. And that's probably the hardest thing to let go of. But like Shannon said, you're starting with these more material, tangible things. And while you're doing that, this has happened to me time and time again, when I am purging these material things, or, cleaning house, or however you want to put it, a lot of times memories come up. I'll touch something, and actually in that physical thing, there could be something beautiful that I want to hold on to. It could be my mother's necklace I need to put in a more prevalent place, or it could be something, a friend who used to be a friend is not a friend anymore. That happens, especially in this day and age right now, with all the vax, no vax, what political party, it's more division than ever. But the important thing about, before we let go of those energy vampires, is we want to try and also always bridge the gap as best we can and make peace with that letting go.
Yes.
Peace with dropping off that box at the Goodwill or wherever you're going with it. Make peace with, maybe sometimes you have to block somebody. And that's okay.
Well,
right?
and that comes back to like a self-love piece, right? That's self-care when you start letting go of the energy vampires, right? Love is sustainable. Love is a balanced situation where you give and you receive. So if you're not feeling that in a relationship, whether it's a coworker, a partner, a lover, your children, your friends, whatever that looks like, then there's things that need to be changed within that relationship to make it sustainable, right? It's like a bank account. If you're not feeling like you get as much as you give, then it's not sustainable.
And I love what Raja just put in the chat, letting go of self-doubt and clearing the negative energy from my energy field. And that is just like what you just were saying. I mean, it's just like that self-doubt. And when you start letting go of the things that don't serve us, and you start nurturing the things that you do, that self-doubt just kind of dissipates on its own. But it comes back to everything that Shannon's teaching right now is about undoing, and then how do we redo? And
well, yeah, exactly. I like that. And when you start to deepen into all of these, different practices that help you with your self-love and your self-care, and you start to have that deeper connection with yourself, then you actually find it a lot easier to let go of those things that don't serve you. And as you move forward on the journey, it's like, wow, I'm feeling lighter, and then your self-doubt starts to dissipate as you really start to understand your own authenticity, and then you're not as scared to share it either, because you've let go of the negative influences.
perfect. You know what? Sometimes when you were saying that, I just had this vision. I want you all just to think about this vision. Anybody who's feeling self-doubt or feeling insecure or trapped, it's just like if like sometimes, you could just take out, and all the time you have the power to take a really sharp pin and see this big inflated doubt balloon and pop it. And that can come with simply letting go. And you know what those things are. I mean, that's the thing. Most of us know, if we go to that gut level, right? That intuitive level, we can just pop that bubble and feel better. And that's it. Like Shannon always says, I want you to talk more about this, about your choices, right?
Yeah. Well, and these are your choices, right?
Right.
So it's like, it's like coming to this very, very deep understanding that every single human being is on their own journey, and they see life through their perceived lens. And through all of the relationships, all of the people they've met, all of the experiences that they've had, this is how they're looking at life. They're looking at life through their lens. and you can't control any of it, right? So, you have this really deep understanding that everybody is on their own journey, and there's nothing you can do to control it. All you can do is control your own. So what do you desire? And how do you desire to show up every day in your world? Because that is a choice. And I actually have a word for this, and you'll have to all excuse my language. Mama Donna knows me well, but I call this the no give a fuck zone, because this is where you get to, and you start to get to this place where you just really don't care what other people think, if they choose to judge you, or if they choose to ridicule you in any way. You follow your path because you know it's your path, and you're so encased in your own greatness, in your own divinity, that you really just start to um, become that most authentic version of yourself. Excuse me. And then you have so much more joy and peace and freedom and love to share with all of those other people that are in your life.
I love that. One of the things that a beautiful metaphor that I love to give this tool to people is when we're talking about getting rid of energy vampires and moving through all this stuff. A lot of times what we tend to do is we put up walls. We put up a barrier, we put up a block. And one of the best tools that I've ever used to help people get through this, to undo and to redo, is to turn those walls into down, colorful pillows.
Ooh. Stained
Because,
glass windows.
well, you don't want to break them, you want them soft. Because you can move them, right?
Soft and fluffy.
You can rearrange them. You can welcome people back in and open up when things start to soften, and you put those pillows around yourself, and you're taking care of yourself too, instead of walling off all those things that Shannon just said, and you're just looking at how you can just make more space. You can just easily move those pillows around. So next time you feel, right, like you're being attacked, or you're feeling self-doubt, that is your wall. That is something that, if you comfort yourself and allow yourself to just move that aside and see what it feels like, instead of building back a wall and putting mortar there, wow, it will change everything in your whole energy lightens up when you don't have walls and barriers and boundaries. And I'm not to say don't protect yourself. It's how we protect ourselves, and that leaves room for our heart to grow bigger, and leaves more room to breathe. And you don't have to try and climb and hit the wall. Just move the pillows.
I love it. I love the pillow thing. It's awesome. And the thing is that there is nothing that happened yesterday or 5 minutes ago that we could change, right? So, and the thing is too, is that on our journey, to becoming the best humans that we can be, we learn lessons as we go, and everybody makes mistakes. Like every single person does. So, it's really, you take those lessons that you've learned from all of the experiences, and then the relationships and the friendships and whatever it is from your past, and you take all that you've learned and you move forward, becoming the best human that you can be, right? And there's always resistance, as we move forward. I always call them like the gates of resistance. So there's always fear as we try to move forward, because if we think about all that we're manifesting in our lives and the person that we want to become, there's fear wrapped up in that, because we've never been that person before. So, you really have to think about, who is that person that I'm becoming? Whether it's, a business success, that entrepreneur, that, the best grandma I can be, or whatever it is. really just tap into who she is or who he is, and step into that, with confidence. And confidence, of course, doesn't come in a magic pill. We have to walk through those gates of resistance. Sometimes we have to tread really lightly, but it just takes practice, and then we just become more confident in our own authenticity, understanding that all of these other people are on their own journey, and they're not here judging us. To be honest, I don't believe that anymore. I used to feel like a lot of people were judging me, for different things that I would do, and then I realized that they take about as much time to judge me as I take to judge them. So as I'm scrolling through my social media and I'm thinking, oh, this person, this person, this person, and I just keep scrolling. I mean, let's be honest, everybody out there right now on this planet is just trying to navigate their own crap.
Mhm.
So don't worry about what they're doing, just worry about what you're doing, and really start to cultivate that self-love story within yourself, so that you can be open to receive and open to give more love, and create space in your life, right? Simplify.
Mm. Yeah, I just love that so much. Like what you just said about comparing ourselves to other people. Um, it is like never since social media and all this has happened. I mean, to all of us, and no matter what age you're at. I mean, I'm 64. Why should I give a rat's ass, right? You? And
Yeah.
and so I'm constantly saying, well, I should do what they're doing or do what they're doing because I want to reach more people and help more people. And why are they helping
Oh,
people? And their messages and it as from the heart or what, and then I'm judged. And then I just
yeah,
put the pillows aside and just to focus on what I'm doing. And then like
exactly.
Tells here, who's in the Philippines, and TJ's here and Michael, they're all from the Philippines. And oh my gosh, they just went through one of the worst typhoons in history in the Philippines, and they're all here showing up today. And I just think everybody just come off mute and everybody just say, I'm sending love.
Send it
I'm
out.
sending
I'm
love.
sending so much love.
I'm
So
sending
much
love.
love. So much love,
sending
right?
Like, isn't that what we're here for?
That's what we're here for, right? Now,
That's
when
what
we're
we're here
worrying
for.
about social media and what people think of us, and other people are just trying to get a roof on their house,
That's
food
right.
on the table.
Yeah,
So
I
when
love it.
those self-doubt things come in, or these poor me pity thing or whatever, that's what I do. A lot of times I'm not in a concentration camp. I didn't just go through a typhoon, and then they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, no, that's just a saying, because sometimes people get so hurt and so weakened, because getting back to what we're talking about, Shannon, it's like, what makes people hold on to this stuff, right? What makes people think that 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, why are we holding on to these things? Like when you look at people like Tell and Michael and TJ are on the line, these guys are already rebuilding, right? They're already, and a lot of it comes from, support and love from family and friends and stuff.
Hmm.
But that's like, get rid of the energy vampires.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and let that support come and let that love come in, whether it's monetary, clothing, sending energy, sending prayers, whatever it is, and not worrying about what Shannon was talking about, feeling like what everybody else is thinking, when
Yeah.
our energy can be better, way better spent doing good in the world.
And like the conforms in our society have taught us, through the media or whatever it is. I mean, that we're not good enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not fast enough, not, all of these things. So when we look back at our lives and we're trying to hold on to all of these conforms, at some point you just have to say enough. Enough is enough, and just let them go, right? And
Yeah, but
become that most.
how do we do that, Shannon?
How do we do that?
Give us some
Well,
tools that you have in your toolbox.
well, I think, I use my journaling practice. My journaling practice is like, that's my baby. It's, it saved me. It saved my life. It saved my business. It really helps me to understand who I am. And it's a very simple practice. And you guys, I'm just going to tell you what it is. You know, you get up every morning and you write down 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for. Because we all know that gratitude breeds abundance, right? And abundance comes in many forms, whether it's love, friendship, sisterhood, gifts. You know, it's not always monetary, right? Gratitude breeds abundance. So write down 5 to 10 things every single day that you are grateful for. And then write down 5 or 10 things that you desire to manifest in your life. And by doing this, you really start to get clear on what it is that you desire to have in your life. And you desire to figure out who that person is that you're becoming. And then you stay grounded in that truth. And the more you write it, the more your subconscious mind starts to let go of all the crap that holds you back. I tell this story to my clients all the time, and it's like, if the person that you're becoming, whoever that might be, everybody defines success for themselves, and you can define it however you choose to define it. If that person is in the kitchen, or that is the destination, okay, that person that you're becoming, you need to get to the kitchen to become that person. And you right now, you're in your bedroom. And I apologize to any of the guys that are here right now because I work mostly with women, but we're in the bedroom and we're starting this journey and we're really trying to learn how to let go. And we know that the person that we're becoming, our destination is in the kitchen, but we can't leave without all our stuff. So it's like all of our baggage that we want to carry with us because we're scared to let it go, because we think that it defines us. It defines us, whether, who we are, how fashionable we are, all the things that we attach ourselves to material wise. So we start putting on our purses and we start putting on our scarves and we start grabbing our handbags and we're shoving shoes down our pants. And because God forbid I would have to leave where I'm at right now without all of these shoes. And then I start my journey. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to learn how to let go. I'm ready to become that successful entrepreneur. I'm ready to become that beautiful grandmother or whatever it is that you desire to become. And now I can't fit through the bedroom door because I have all of this baggage. And so what is it that you're willing to let go of to move forward? In whatever ways that you choose to move forward, what are you willing to let go of? Because you can't move forward if you stay in your comfort zone with all of your things. And in that comfort zone, our limiting beliefs are comfortable. We've been going to bed with them for years. The shame, the guilt, all of those things, we know how to navigate that stuff. That's where we are. We navigate it all the time. So in order for you to move forward and let go of some of those things, you have to really tap into who it is who that person is that doesn't have those beliefs. And you have to stay grounded in that truth. So always tapping into your own authenticity, right? Who are you as a person? What are the most beautiful gifts that you offer to the world, that you share? What is your love story? Because that's what we're here to do as humans. What is your love story? Who is that person? And then you start to let go of some of the stuff that holds you back. Take your lessons, take the things you've learned, release the baggage, and move forward to become that person. That's the best advice that I can give.
I love that. So beautiful.
And the journaling practice helps because, to be honest, half the time I ask people, I'm like, well, what is it that you truly desire to have in your life? And people don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell you because they don't know. It's like we're on this roller coaster, this hamster wheel of go, 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 and do to get to where?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that bring you the most joy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want your life to look like? And get really specific about that.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to do those exercises that Shannon is speaking of, and and ask yourself 3 questions. And who are you? What do I love to do? What is my purposeful why? That purposeful why is you. What is your purpose? And that always comes down to love, when that purpose is coming from a place of service, when it's coming from a place of giving, generosity, being gracious. And you use those same words to be kind and loving and gracious and generous to yourself too. And journal writing, and actually I'm gonna, because I have it right here, but this is my a journal that I wrote, I put together for you guys. And it's called I Am Living Like the Future Matters. And it's got tons of places for you to write and prompts and beautiful quotes, some from myself and other brilliant people who you'll recognize, most of them. And my photography's in here too. And all the proceeds from everything I do right now are going to help the folks in the Philippines. So if you find it in your heart and you want to start doing what Shannon's suggesting, and your journal's full or you don't have one, I really encourage you all to look on. You can get it Barnes and Nobles and Amazon, wherever you shop. And I would just be honored to hear how it helps you get through that. Well, Shannon, I just appreciate that so much, and you being so real. And, you know, so far we've touched on why and how letting go can help people. And it would be really awesome to, if anybody is so inclined, to put in the chat, just write one thing for 22 that you feel that is important for you to let go, like be accountable, like put it out there, whether it's a person or a thing, or, you know, your anorexia, your husband, you know, because sometimes, you know, I mean, this is a good opportunity. This is a safe place, because these chats don't go up on YouTube, and we're going to be putting these on a podcast as well really soon. But you guys, speaking it is so important. Writing it is really important. Mantras, we have been around since as long as we could speak. And speaking our truth, sometimes it's hard to speak that truth to someone that we need to let go of at first, but that's why we have mirrors, and that's why we have cliffs or places where we can go where people aren't around. And sometimes letting go for me sometimes is just bawling my eyes out, screaming F you. I mean, sometimes it takes getting like, you know, and because we, you know, with all this love and everything, there's anger, there's all these emotions, there's resentment, there's fear, fear is big. Letting go of fear. Wow. And so saying it, speaking it, declaring it, letting somebody who you trust and you know and you love, right? Shannon and I do this with each other. Find a person that you can really, really trust, where you can open up your heart and talk the shit out. Because as soon as you pop that balloon, whew, that self-doubt, that fear, that anger dissipates.
And it's okay to cry. And it's okay to move through those emotions, right?
Guys,
It's true, right? And, you know, whether that emotion is anger or shame or guilt or rage, and give yourself, you know, some grace, right? We're humans. This, you know, and we're learning. This is the journey we're on. We're learning to be better humans as we go. Each step we take, we're learning to be better humans. And so give yourself some grace. And if it helps you to move on a little bit easier, honor what's gone. You can't go back. Don't hold on to it. Give it some love. Take your lessons and move forward from there. be grateful for that lesson. And sometimes that helps us to move on with a little more ease and grace as well. It's just to be grateful for what we've learned so far, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right. To count our blessings and not our calories and steps and right. I love that Pat wrote, let go of judgment of myself and others.
Yes.
And I write this in my book, one of my, I don't know, I probably wrote it in all of them, but I have really come to the conclusion that judgment is the demise of humanity. And when we're judging ourselves, we're doing that to our own humanity.
Yes.
And so that is pretty much, there you go to court and there's a judge, your parents judge you, the people who are jealous judge you, and it's having a different circle or influence of people around us makes a huge difference. And anytime that judgment emotion or judgment thing that is really suppressing who you are, because when you judge, you're suppressing someone. Guilty.
Well, there's that thing, whereas if you're giving judgment, then it's a direct reflection of things that you're judging yourself for, or the way that you feel about yourself. And I'd just like to chime in there and say, when I say give yourself some grace and some ease, I mean, I'm 50 years old, and I've been conditioned for 50 years. It takes time to change these things within us, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a constant baby step forward all the time. Sometimes it's 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. As long as you just continue to deepen into that vision of where you hold yourself, right? That vision of who you're becoming. And as long as you're always taking that step forward, then you're moving in the right direction to becoming that best human that you can be.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, right? You say it takes, but sometimes, we have these spiritual awakenings, or you come to a call like this, or another encounter with a stranger even. We've all seen those Hollywood movies, where it's life-changing. And right now, things are changing really fast.
Yeah.
And so getting back to what you were saying, Shannon, we have a choice how we want to change.
That's right.
And, this is a time for radical transformation, and not a time to be self-loathing and self-doubting if we're going to enjoy 2022 and beyond. Now is the time to just, co-create and collaborate with people that give us joy, people that maybe challenge us a little to get us, like you were talking about, getting out of our comfort zone, getting through that door, letting go of those things that really aren't serving us, and nurturing what does. And it really is I'm sure, like each of us come in contact with someone, if not daily, well, maybe not as much anymore, but frequently, you can just feel them draining you. And then you can come in to a totally different situation, and you all of a sudden you feel it, and that someone's helping you rise. And a lot of that is because you're there for them, because serving others is what really gives us the ability to be so much more genuinely elevated. I mean, anybody from Jesus to Gandhi to Martin Luther King to Mother Teresa, any of these are great spiritual leaders. I could go on, who have, whoever it is for you, they have just given, and they have done that by letting go of anything material, anything that's self-serving. And it's time for all of us to just have a good look in the mirror or wherever, or take time under the tree like Buddha, and really reflect on, what is my purposeful why?
Yes.
Because when we get in touch with that, like Shannon was saying, that is where the undoing happens. That is when we really start to realize, oh my God, I have a purpose. None of this other purses and all this baggage, none of this matters. How can I serve? How can I help? How can I serve myself? How can I help myself first? Of course. Then we're unstoppable.
And we could take that one step further if you let me ramble on.
Ramble on, girlfriend. I love it.
You could take that a step further, because sometimes what happens is when, as we start to step into that vision and we become that, that most authentic version of ourselves, what happens is and in reality, so we raise our energetic vibration, like you're talking about Buddha and Gandhi and all these people. So basically, you're raising the vibration within yourself. So you're raising the vibration to here. So you're leveling up in your energy, right? So your energy becomes lighter. And so you're naturally leveling up. But what happens sometimes, and so I just want to point this out for anybody that, might feel this or come in, something, food for thought anyway. What happens is when that happens, the people that are around us, so we've taken the steps to step out of our comfort zone and raise our energy a little. And all of the people around us are still here. And they know how to navigate you when you're here. Right? So these might be our relationships with friends, family, kids, sisters, coworkers, whatever it is. You guys are, this is the comfort zone. So everybody knows how to navigate everybody's energy because we've been doing it for a long time. And then when you start to raise your energetic vibration, these people down here don't really understand what's going on. So this is where sometimes you start to face, some of that judgment from others or that ridicule, or, they just don't, because they're not seeing you on the same level that you've always been at. And so this happens. And sometimes, these relationships, they might fall away. But there's an uncomfortable kind of space there. And so you might find yourself, recognizing these little bits of uncomfortable space. But normally what happens is that those people will rise up to meet you, because now you've become the leader of your life, and you give permission to others to do the same. They're like, hey, look at that guy. He's been like doing all these things and it's great. And so, I really like how he's, changing things up. And so now they're raising their energetic vibrations. Almost like you give them permission to join you up there.
Love it.
And then you start to navigate each other again on a different energy plane, right? The people that are stuck down here, sometimes they fall away. And we have to learn how to let that go, because they're just not there yet, because they're on their own journey, right? They're on their own journey and they're navigating their own things through their own lens. What I don't ever want to see is that you're up here and there's this space of uncomfortableness and you do this.
Right.
Because it's easier. Because it's comfortable, because you don't want to hurt these people's feelings, because you don't want to face the little bit of judgment that might happen, or you don't want the other people in your world to feel uncomfortable. So there's that space, right? And I always, I say there's that resistance. And so that's kind of how that works, and that's how it happens. And so I just kind of wanted to point that out, because sometimes, we're in a space like this and we're like, yeah, this feels good. And your energy is raised, and, you're raising your vibration just by being here. And then all of a sudden tomorrow you wake up and you go back to your 9 to 5, or, whatever it is that you're doing, and you do this because you don't want everybody to feel uncomfortable around you. So don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Be the leader of the pack, right? And be that person who says, hey, come up here. It's way nicer over here. The energy's great.
That is so good. I love that. I think everybody really, really could resonate to that, like, so much, and if you guys, we're coming to the end of our hour here. And with what Shannon just shared right there, like right now is such an opportunity for you guys just to really let that settle in, really, really let that. And because that happens all the time. It happens to me all the time.
It does,
Like,
right?
right? I'll even be at a gathering at a party, and if it's something like I got to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back, and I never show up again. As soon as there's ways to exit when you got pillows, right? There's ways to just you don't have to take it anymore, right? You don't. And that'll diminish your self-doubt right there. Just like, it's okay to. I got to go to the bathroom. I mean, remove yourself from the situation. But if anybody at this time has any questions for Shannon, or would like to contribute anything into this conversation that they'd like to share with us, how they're dealing with undoing things and renewing a commitment to ourselves for our self-love, our self-purpose, or wherever we're heading in our lives. It's so helpful for everybody. You're doing all of us a favor by sharing your wisdom. You have a story, just even a couple of words or something that you want to mention. And you're so welcome, Pat. I'm so glad you're here. That makes both Shannon and I feel really good knowing that you're here. Well, if anybody doesn't want to put anything in the chat, Shannon, I would love to invite you. Well, first of all, would you please put in the chat? I just want to make a few announcements, and then at the end, but I want to have Shannon, if anybody has any questions for her. And then if you want to get off, I want to tell you, share with you what's coming up next week and give you a couple links to check out. You could put those in the chat right now, that would be so great. So we're getting lots of thank yous in the chat, but no questions or comments. But Shannon, how would you like to sum this this conversation up? What's the last bit of advice you can give everybody?
I think the biggest thing is, like I said, is really just creating that vision for yourself, understanding who it is that you want to become, so that you can stay grounded in that, because that's what'll keep you moving forward. And if you ever, find yourself stuck, these are my words of wisdom for you. Freedom lives on the other side of fear. And when you start taking those steps to move towards that vision that you have for yourself, you just feel lighter, and there's more joy, and you start to set better boundaries, and you start to have a better self-love story, which in turn gives you a better love story all the way around with all of the humans in your life. So freedom lives on the other side of fear, guys. Don't be fearful of what this is your life. Make sure you're living it.
You guys, I just put that in the chat. Freedom
and live it like the future matters, right?
And live it like the future matters. That's right. Thank you, Shannon. But yeah, freedom lives on the other. And speaking of the chat, you guys, you can download the chat anytime if there's links. And Tel's going to be putting in a link, and I'm not going to be fearful to tell you this, but we are doing a Cat's coming in now. Hi, Cat. Hi, Kat. Welcome. We're just getting ready to sign off in 5 minutes, but you can listen to the replay, honey. It is awesome. This is Shannon Kelly. Shannon, meet Kat, and it's actually awesome that Kat on. Everybody say hi to Kat, because Kat actually is our speaker, our guest for next week.
Hi, Kat.
Hi, Kat. Kat, I'm so glad you popped on. What a timely thing. Kat Haber is been a dear friend of mine for almost 30 years, maybe 25 years or whatever, a long time. And she is a climate activist. And not only that, she is a TEDx facilitator, and she's a philanthropist like you've never met. And she's going to be talking on our food intake and direct relationship to climate, the climate injustice that's happening in the world, and empower us to be that change we wish to do and be in the world. And so it's going to be a great talk, and you're going to love her. So that's so perfect you came on. And Shannon, you're going to love Kat, and Kat, you are going to love Shannon. What I do wanted to invite you guys to do is I am going to be finishing the shooting of these immune system building culinary classes, and they are going to go way beyond just teaching you how to make the most delicious, nutritious food you can imagine, but you'll also be learning a lot of what Kat and I are going to be discussing next week, but and how to get rid of energy vampires within your what you put in, and just experiencing how they feel when they come out. And food, it affects our mood and everything we do. So these culinary classes, I started shooting them, and then I had this bad toothache. And if you see, I had two teeth. Well, one was already gone and two removed in a bridge. And I was shooting and I was in a lot of pain. And then they finally took the tooth out and I feel much better, but now I'm like all self-conscious. So that's why the culinary classes are a little on delay, because I want to be really on and have a beautiful smile and be able to chew my food when I'm talking in these culinary classes. But Kel just put in the chat where you can link down, and I would appreciate it if you're interested in boosting your immune system, helping to make the world a better place, and for you to feel your best self because of the food that I'm going to be teaching you how to make, and that gives me the energy and the vitality that I have to bring these things forward. Just fill out the survey. And again, all the proceeds are going to be going to the victims of the typhoon in the Philippines. So why retire when I can inspire? I do what I do to make a difference in the world, not to make a living. So I really appreciate you checking that out. Just fill out the survey. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll be sending, it's going to be super affordable, super fun, and everything will be recorded besides the live weekly chats that we're going to be having where people can show off what they've made. And then so now we know next week's dose of positivity, and I really appreciate you taking the time to look at that survey and putting your input, what you'd like to learn to do. Is there anything else I forgot? You know, I just want everybody just give a big shout out to this woman who's stuck by me even through this horrific storm, and thank her so much because without her, I couldn't do what I do, because she does all the beautiful flyers.
She's amazing.
She is. Yes, she is. She helps me make the newsletters beautiful, and I am so grateful for her. And I'm so grateful for all of you coming on today. And Shannon, especially much mahalo to you, and big love for your words of wisdom. And remember, on the other side of freedom is fear, right? So that means on the other side of fear is freedom.
That's
and,
right.
and take that with you so that you can undo and renew and redo who you are, with knowing who you are, what you love to do, and what your purposeful why is.
And start living like the future matters.
Start living like the future matters. Yeah, and you could put the link to our books in there. And I thank you all so much for your love and your support and showing up. And we will see you next week, same time, same place. And Shannon, I love you. And again,
Thanks
mahalo.
for having me.
It was a joy.
Nice to meet all of you.